Today we're gonna talk about Spike Brothers. So recently I've climbed all the way to Legend 30 using Spike Brothers, starting from Legend 23 or 24 actually. I don't remember, but what impresses me is that I was able to do this in less than half a day, which is actually really fast in my opinion. So we're gonna do a deck profile and also a bit of in-depth of the deck's combo. So to start things off, Spike Brothers is a clan that does multiple attacks. Very similar to Nova Grappler, it tries to achieve more than 3 times the attack. But the only difference is that unlike Nova Grappler, it doesn't stand to the rearguard, it focuses on Superior Calling. How does Superior Calling allows you to do more attacks? Well, Spike Brothers' main gimmick is that after you attack with your rearguard, usually you have a way to empty the front row. And once you empty the front row, they will fill it up back with new units that are ready to attack. But the main appeal is that when you do your combos as Spike Brothers, you'll be filtering your deck. That means the chances of checking triggers are higher. And Spike Brothers units tend to hit for very high number. We're talking about numbers that reaches damage triggers. So let's say like your opponent checks a trigger during the damage check. Vanguard is at what, 20k, 21k. Spike Brother will still be able to hit that number without triggers. That's like a very huge plus for Spike Brothers. But usually you still need to count for triggers in order to, pull off a very huge number and huge combo. And then another main appeal is that it searches cards directly. So it doesn't just randomly call out cards. But there is one card that does randomly, but we'll talk about that later. And this is where we talk about the deck list. So we're going to talk about each card one by one. I might jump into some cards so that the explanation is much more easier. So instead of explaining the starter, I will just straight up explain the grade 1 first. So for grade 1s, for perfect guards, nothing much about it. It prevents you from dying. Deadly Den. So Deadly Den is very, very strong because it's your toolboxing card. So when this unit boosts a Vanguard, +2, put a card from your hand to the soul, call any card you want from your deck to an empty rearguard circle. So you can notice like this is the main power of Spike Brother, being able to call units however they wish. This card is the bread and butter for starting combos. You can search anything you want. You want to play defensively to call a grade 2, you got it. You want a high power rearguard, you got it. You want a grade 1 to boost your front row, you got it. Deadly Den is basically something that I would recommend everyone to prioritize having in your deck. At least 2, like you really want this card. Without this card, right, Spike Brother can't really do much. This is your main toolbox and everyone should play it, at the very least 2 of it. 3 is fine, 4 is questionable, but I think 3 is a very nice number. I play 2 because I don't have the third one. So up next we have Reckless Express. So you must be wondering how Spike Brother empty the front row. Like you saw Deadly Den call something to replace an empty front row. This is how. Reckless Express. When this unit attacks, so +1, you get 5k power until end of that battle, and then you put it into the bottom of the deck at the end of that battle as well. This is how Spike Brother is very, very strong, because they have a high power rearguard, at the same time a way to empty the front row to start combos. This is a generic gimmick that Spike Brother has in each grade. The grade 1 is this, the grade 2 is someone called Baraki. Sorry about the pronunciation. And the grade 3 is called Maximum Juggernaut, which is the most important one, take note, alright? So this is your main combo starter. You have this, you can even attack the rearguard, give it 5k, and then go it to the bottom of the deck. That's as simple as that. It is just a combo starter so that you can call more units over the empty circle. The soul blasting cost is not expensive in my opinion, because as you can see, Deadly Den here, put a card into the soul from your hand. So basically it's giving cost for this card and the other generic copy of this card. So up next we have the 4 Spike Brothers Assault Squad. So this card, when the attack this unit boosted, hits stand this unit. So what we want to do is that usually, right, when you drive check triggers, you give your triggers to Spike Brothers Assault Squad. It's mainly to do some powerful loop with one of the great trees that we're going to see later, mainly skydivers. And the main problem with Spy Brothers is that if you notice, every time when you attack with your front row, they disappear, right? So you must be wondering also, like, where do I give the triggers to? The answer is Assault Squad. So you give it to Assault Squad because Assault Squad usually stands back up. Nothing much there, but it is an important card. That's why we play 4 of it. Okay, so up next for the Great Tools, we have Braki. Braki is basically the copy of Reckless Express. There's nothing much to say about it. Combo starter, play it. Then up next, we have the Spy Bouncer. So Spy Bouncer is just a one-off. When your other units attack hits a Vanguard, this unit gets 3k at the end of the turn. So I run this because it can hit magic numbers. Usually you use one of your so +1 +5k to hit the Vanguard, and then this thing become 11k, being able to hit your opponent's 10k rear guard or even the 9k rear guards. You must be wondering that why am I not running Zachary? Because I feel like Zachary, right, is not that great. I don't see him hitting the opposition's Vanguard without the Assault Squad. Like, you need Assault Squad to be boosted with Zachary. So if you guys are wondering what Zachary is, here's a pop-up of Zachary. So Zachary basically has the ability of when these units attack hit, he can serve +1, and then he can draw 1. And then you put it to the bottom of the deck. So the difference here is that he can run away just like the other generic copy, but his main issue is that he has to hit, while the other generic copy doesn't need to hit, and he cannot achieve the magic number. That's why I prefer to run Spike Bouncer over Zachary. Alright, so the next card we have will be Devil Summoner. Devil Summoner effect is basically when you call this unit, you can review the top deck of your card, and then if it's a grade 2 or less, you can call it. If not, shuffle your deck. So this card is just very strong because it's 3+. And the interesting part about this card is that you can combo it with Dudley Den. So basically what you do is that you empty your front row, and then if you don't think you can kill your opponent or he has like triggers, what you do is that you can use Dudley Den to call Devil Summoner, and you can get Devil Summoner to give you more free units. And then next we have the 10k Vanilla, which is just basically most of the staple in most decks. 10k is very strong. It can attack Great Trees 10k, and yeah, it's also nothing much you can play, so you just run this. I don't explain too much about this. Next we have the Great Tree. So my Great Trees are not optimal because I don't have 2 Siegfried. Siegfried is this card here, we'll talk about it later. So instead we run the rare, which is called Unite Attacker. So Unite Attacker, you usually only run 1 because you don't have a choice. Other than that, you have to run the Cray Elemental, which is really bad. So Unite Attacker is quite decent. At the main of the start phase, Soul Charge 1 gets 2k, very generic Mega Blast card. So he basically allows you to swing over 11k attackers, very basic knowledge there. And then his Mega Blast is, if it hits, you can look at the top 5 from the deck and call any number of them. I rarely pull this off, not gonna lie, but if you do pull this off, usually it's just because you have an empty field or you don't really have any other choice. But usually you won't see this card. This card is just played because of the Soul Charge for 2k, so you can go over the Vanguard line. Other than that, you don't really want to ride this card. Before we talk about Siegfried, the main boss card for Spy Brother, we will talk about the actual stars of the Great Trees. One of them is Juggernaut Maximum. So Juggernaut Maximum, as I mentioned before earlier during the Grade 1 session of Express, that this is an important card in Spy Brothers because unlike the other vanilla, this thing has a trigger, and the effect is the same, so +1 +5k after it attacks go to the bottom of the deck. Very important is that Juggernaut can return to the deck. Being a heal trigger means you can recycle your heal multiple times. So you must be wondering, how do you put it back to the deck in the middle or even the top of the deck if it's going to the bottom. So you have several methods. One of it is the starter that we didn't talk. Sorry about that. The starter that we didn't talk about. Mecha Trainer. Mecha Trainer basically is a color +1, retire this unit, you can add a grade 1 or less card from your deck to the hand. So basically this thing shuffles the deck. Since you add a card and then you are forced to shuffle afterwards. Your choices are basically a Perfect Guard, Dudley Den, which is your toolbox, Express, which is the combo starter, and your Assault Squad, which you often want to see behind your Vanguard back row. So another card that will be able to shuffle your deck is Dudley Den himself, your toolbox. Usually the combo is after you attack with your Juggernaut Maximum and send it back to the bottom of the deck. You use Dudley Den to fill up the empty slot and shuffle your deck so that you can drive check your Juggernaut Maximum, and it doesn't end there. We also have Skydiver. Skydiver is also another reason why Sprite Brother is very strong, and the main reason why we play 4 Assault Squad. This guy here, right here, 4 of them. So remember when we say Assault Squad, you usually give the triggers to him. So he's usually an 11k booster, and then you combo it with Skydiver. Skydiver's skill is when this unit attacks hits a Vanguard, you put it into the soul and call a card from your hand. So essentially you can loop the Skydivers. So imagine this, you can have your Assault Squad being 11k, and then you can have your Skydiver right here, swing the Vanguard 22k, they hit a defensive trigger making it 20k, it doesn't matter. Call over another Skydiver and Skydiver swings again, and then it becomes a 25k. So then afterwards you just straight away call Juggernaut Maximum. Juggernaut Maximum, so plus 1, 16, 16 plus 11, 27k, swing again. That's essentially 3 damage towards your Vanguard, even though they have 1 defensive trigger. That's basically the stars of the deck, but the boss card of the deck is basically Seafreak right here. So what makes Seafreak amazing in the deck is that when you drive check a grade 3, you can call that card to an empty circle. He also emphasized on the empty circle and multi-attack. The thing about him is that his targets aren't that bad. In fact, they are what you exactly want in the deck. So one of them would be your Juggernaut Maximum, you heal your damage, you call Juggernaut Maximum, and then you swing with Juggernaut Maximum and return it back to the deck. That means you can reuse the triggers. You manage to call Skydiver, get a draw trigger, draw 1 card, maybe draw an attacker, give your 5k to your Assault Squad, call Skydiver on top of the row that Assault Squad's at, and then attack with boosted Assault Squad. The combo is just amazing in the deck, and that's basically a brief introduction of the deck list. And then we're going to talk about the combos play with some example that I had during my streams. So the first combo we'll talk about is the abusing the power of our Skydiver. So as you can see here, we have Skydiver here just checking triggers for us. There's a draw, there's a nice draw, giving power to the Assault Squad as we discussed earlier, get a heal trigger, very nice, I get a heal of 1 damage, and also give 1 power to my Assault Squad. So here we are very set up to the point where we're just gonna attack with the Skydiver right here. With 27k, he gets a trigger or not, it doesn't really matter to us. We're gonna loop the Skydiver in exactly like this, and then we get to call a grade 2 for defensive play as well. This is like one of the main combos of why Sprite Brother is very scary. Like if we have like multiple Skydiver, we'll be able to loop more on them. But here we're just gonna like attack and play defensively, and there we go, 3 damage off the bat. Next we're gonna take an example if you're behind, where in this case we are pretty behind being 5 damage, but we can you know, still come back from this. First we're gonna use Juggernaut Maximum to use his effect, give him power. Mainly is to send him back to the bottom of the deck so that we get to put a heal trigger back to our deck. And then to ensure that we can check the Juggernaut, we're gonna use the Seafreak boosted by Dudley Den. Use Dudley Den's ability to call a grade 2 so that we shuffle our deck and the Juggernaut might appear as a heal trigger. So right here we're just gonna skip it to our enemy's turn, where oops, we're gonna attack first, dealing him damage. You know, just pressure him, it doesn't really matter. And here we see an example of playing the grade 2's payoff. He has to attack left and right, he can't do much, and then Blau versus to, you know, attackers, and we're gonna just perfect guard the attack. Like here. Yes, there we go. So the moral is that you can still play very defensively as Sprite Brother as the example shown. You can call out grade 2s with Dudley Den, and you can shuffle back your heal trigger with Juggernaut Maximum. And in the same game, we end him with basically playing a very sick combo right here. So what we do is that we call the Skydiver down, that's correct, we call the Barky. So he has 2 cards in his hand. If it's a Vanguard, it's gonna be very dire. So what we do is, we use Barky first to get rid of his intercept. Give it power, attack the rear guard, get rid of it. Then we use Barky's effect to send it back to the bottom of the deck. So right here we got empty circle where we can use Dudley then. Like I say again, emphasizing, you want to create empty circles so you can attack multiple times. This is how Sprite Brother shine. So we're just gonna grab ourselves a Juggler Maximum. So in a case where he heals, Juggler Maximum can still attack and hits. But in this case, he doesn't have heal trigger, no Vanguard, and he just dies. So you can see the example power where Sprite Brother can still get rid of intercepts, attack multiple times, and still, even with a heal trigger, Juggler Maximum will be enough to do another attack to give him the final blow. So that's it about my Sprite Brother video. Like, comment, subscribe if you guys want to see more content like this. I would appreciate if you guys follow my Twitter so that you can have update on when I stream, and you guys, you know, can come over and flame me for misplaying, see me rage, or even, you know, learn a thing or two about Card Fight Vanguard 0. That's all from me for today. Ciao!